Hello. Sorry about that. There seems to have been some technical difficulties for some reason. But welcome back to Small Screen Stories. And this is a special episode that I tend to do every Friday where I talk specifically about WandaVision. And it's all spoilers. We're getting to the end of this now, and it's getting very exciting. But before I start, if you could like and subscribe on YouTube, and if you could like the page on Facebook, that'd be brilliant. If you can also listen to this later on as a podcast. I do release this as a podcast later on, and you can get that wherever you get your podcasts over at Small Screen Stories. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, then a 5-star rating would be wonderful. That'd be brilliant. As I said, there were seemingly some kind of bizarre problems this morning with the live stream. For some reason, it wasn't working. It's just one of those YouTube things. It seems to be all right now. I'm just checking on the channel to make sure that it's okay. But yeah, we're streaming live, so that's good. That's good news. But do let me know your thoughts in the chat on this episode of WandaVision. So before I start, I want to say this is going to be full spoilers. It was a big episode today. It was a really big episode, a really good fun one. And if you're not into spoilers and you haven't watched it yet, then maybe just look away now and go and watch the episode, and then come back here. I just want to check that I am streaming on Facebook as well. Yeah, it seems to be working over on Facebook, which is good news. Right, so let's get straight into it. What happened today on WandaVision? Well, we were told before that it's going to be a flashback episode. And it kind of was. It was a flashback episode. Hello to Rice, by the way. Rice75. I think that's how you say your name. Your name. Good day, mate. I'm not Australian. Don't know why I did that. Right. So, it was a bit of a flashback episode. But the way they did it was really quite fun because they kept Agatha Harkness in it. And Agatha Harkness was kind of taking Wanda through these through moments in her life that kind of explains why she is so powerful. And we realize this episode helps us realize why Agatha was so intent on kind of tricking Wanda, basically. And it kind of comes down to the fact that she didn't understand why WandaVision was so powerful. She wanted to know where she got her powers from. And that, I think, is like a really good, that was a really good way to get this whole thing started. That was a really fascinating way to get the show going, and then it kind of it started off with the flashback episode of Agatha Harkness in Salem, which I love because this is basically saying that WandaVision is now opening up the MCU to witches, which is something that I have been looking forward to for a very, very long time. I do apologize if I seem a bit stiff. It's because my back is killing me. So yeah, I do apologize about that. But yeah, so we had that Salem intro to the episode, which was great. And then we moved on to back in the basement at Agatha's house. And we got a kind of explanation as to what's going on, why Agatha Harkness is so intent on understanding what's going on with Wanda. So we got all of this stuff. And then we went right back to the beginning of Wanda, not beginning, but she was kind of she would have been about 9 or 10 in the flashback episode of her with her family and her brother back in Sokovia, and it explains why Wanda's so obsessed with with sitcoms. It kind of stems from her childhood. Her father would come home with American sitcoms, and they'd watch them all together, and it was a very kind of thoughtful thing to do. It gave us insight into Wanda before she became she didn't really become the Scarlet Witch, but I mean I'll talk a bit about that later. But before she became involved with the Avengers and she got her powers, and these scenes. So we start off with the sitcoms. She's watching the Dick Van Dyke Show, and that kind of explains the show back in the 50s. Later on in the episode, she's watching. I think she's watching, what's it called? The Malcolm in the Middle. That she watches that with Vision, actually, in one of the flashbacks. So we get all these flashbacks, and then Wanda's kind of being led through them by Agatha Harkness. And we kind of realize that actually Wanda had the powers when she was young. But that, I think Agatha knew. Agatha knew that she was powerful, that she had these powers in her, and she was just trying to understand how they became so enhanced. And then we go to like the whole battle in Sokovia, where I'm kind of it's not the battle that's in Age of Ultron, because of course Wanda was part of that. But it was before that, and it was kind of to do with Stark. One of the reasons why people were so annoyed with Tony Stark was because they used his missiles and his weapons to kind of ruin Sokovia. And then she and her brother are in their apartment. The parents are obviously dead at this point. They're hiding under the bed, and you see a Stark Enterprise bomb come into the house, and it doesn't go off. And it's kind of insinuated, Agatha Harkness seems to believe this as well, that a lot of the reason why it didn't go off was actually Wanda's magic. And a lot of the reasons why both her and her brother were okay was because Wanda was protecting them. And then it cuts to Wanda and, well, not really Pietro, but yeah, he's kind of mentioned. But Wanda, she goes to volunteer, and I'm blanking on the name of the organization she volunteers for. It's in Age of Ultron. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on that name. But she volunteers for them, and they start to do experiments with her. They use the Mind Stone on her, and this is how she gets her powers. She has a confrontation with the Mind Stone. And you actually, it's said before that everyone that's tried this before her has died. The scientists say that. And you actually see the kind of comic book accurate version of Scarlet Witch. Like, she has almost, it seems like a premonition. And she sees, but with all the yellow light that's going on around her, in the middle of it all, she sees that kind of more comic book accurate version of Scarlet Witch. And then it stops, and, she gets, it kind of all... stops, and she's on the floor. And then you see back later on, you see that you see the footage of that, and the scientists are looking over that, and then you see that actually it's cut. They're not able to see what actually happened, so they're all a bit puzzled. So we then cut to actually a really heartwarming scene between her and Vision in the Avengers HQ, and this is right after Pietro's been killed. And she needs comfort, but she doesn't really want it, but she does need it. And it seems as though Vision kind of knows that. And then they sit and they talk about how grief is just love, the power of love kind of remaining. And then it's just a really heartwarming scene between Wanda and Vision. And you kind of understand why they ended up together. I'm pretty sure the Mind Stone has something to do with it as well. I'm pretty sure they had a connection through the Mind Stone because, of course, Vision... a lot of his power comes from the Mind Stone. So basically, this then leads on to you see Wanda going into Sword HQ to get the body, to get Vision's body, and this was a scene that was actually leaked quite a while ago. And I think, Rice, you're right. I think the Mind Stone unlocked dormant abilities as opposed to giving her the powers. This episode really seemed to me to be focusing on the fact that actually she had powers to begin with. She was basically a witch to begin with, but her interaction with the Mind Stone was what opened her up and made her so powerful. It really unlocked those abilities as opposed to giving her those abilities. So this is either just confirming that witches exist in the MCU or that there's a kind of almost mutant-like ability going on here. I don't know whether they're going to bring in mutants into I know the X-Men are going to come into this at some point. They're going to make mutants a thing in the MCU, but I do wonder whether witches and mutants will be a separate thing. I think they probably will be, but that she had these abilities to begin with is, I don't think we can question that anymore. I think this episode kind of confirms it once and for all, which is good because I like that. I love witches. I love the MCU for that, and I love the Marvel comics that involve witches. I think they're brilliant. And I think Agatha Harkness is such a tour de force performance here from Catherine Hahn. She's just brilliant, and again, Elizabeth Olsen is brilliant in this episode as Wanda Maximoff. They actually do reference I like the fact that Catherine at one point, so Agatha, she makes a bit of a joke about the accent changing constantly, and I really do think there's something to say there because basically, when you come out of the illusion that she's created with all this kind of this sitcom stuff, she's going from having a very American accent to her kind of Sokovian accent. And I think that's maybe just a stylistic choice they decided to do. Have her keep her original accent in the kind of non-sitcom moments. But the scene I was talking about before was her going back to S.W.O.R.D. and trying to get the body of Vision's body back. So this was teased before that there were some storyboards of this scene. I was actually told that it was going to be in episode 7, but then it turns out it was in episode 8. But this scene is quite fascinating because she goes into S.W.O.R.D. headquarters. She asks to see Vision's body because she knows they have it, and they let her in. Hayward lets her in, and then Hayward shows her the body, and it's like a horror scene because they've completely dismantled it. And this is too much for Wanda to take. She says, "Why have you done this?" And they're saying, "Well, he's a sentient weapon." Hayward directly refers to Vision as a sentient weapon, and this will make this I think will be very important, especially in episode 9 that's coming out next week. So then basically we were led to believe earlier on in the series that Wanda actually went to S.W.O.R.D. headquarters and stole Vision's body. This episode reveals that wasn't the case, and this is, I think, a really interesting twist because both it shows Wanda's powers, and it also makes us, during the episode, it really made me think, what is Hayward up to in this? What is his endgame? So, because in this scene, they reveal that she actually leaves after having, she kind of explodes the glass and then goes down to the body and then goes up to the heads, and she feels the head and she says, "I can't feel you anymore." She can't feel him there. It's basically just an empty husk to her. So she's really upset. She goes into the car, goes and actually drives to Westview. And then when she's at Westview, you reveal that you see this what looks like a letter next to her in the car. She goes to this plot of land and opens up the letter and reveals that it's a deed, a deed for the plot of land. That Vision, and then on it said this, for our where we can grow old together, and Vision, and it's all in a heart. So that reveals that actually this was Vision's, initial vision idea was to go here and grow old with Wanda, and this is just too emotional for her, and then she just literally explodes, and creates this Westview that we've seen, the sitcom version of Westview. But not only that. She doesn't just create that, she also creates Vision herself. So she's actually recreated Vision. So this isn't Vision's reanimated corpse. This is something completely different. This is literally, she's rebuilt Vision on her own. And you can tell that it's the Mind Stone because it's the light that makes Vision is yellow. So that, of course, is the Mind Stone light. Batshi, is that how you say your name? Beace. I don't know how to pronounce that, but if Agatha's what if Agatha's mother coven represented the good witches with their blue orderly magic, while Wanda's chaos is bad, represented by scarlet red, and Agatha's is a mix of the two. I think you're right. I think you're completely right. But it is revealed at the end by Agatha Harkness that Wanda's magic is chaos magic, and this is the first time that's ever been referenced in the MCU. And she also references the fact that she said she calls her the Scarlet Witch, which is actually the first time that Wanda's ever been referred to as the Scarlet Witch. Obviously, that is a thing that for witches is like, you are the bad witch. Like the beginning scene is so good with Agatha Harkness. She's basically, the witches are trying to kill her. They put her on the stake, and they start to shoot this blue magic at her, and she actually ends up reversing it and takes in their energy, and ends up killing all these witches, and then ends up killing the head witch, who was desperately, they're trying to kill her because for them she is evil. But the purple, I think, is representative of the kind of, because she does in that scene say she can still be good, and obviously there is something there. I was thinking at the beginning, is she kind of playing them? But no, the episode kind of, it made it seem more as though she really was trying to be good, but she just, this magic just comes out of her and she can't control it. She literally says, "I can't control it." So I really do think you're right there. I think that the colours are very important. the thing is that these innate abilities of Wanda were unlocked by the Mind Stone, and the Mind Stone's color's yellow. So does that mean that that's good, or is it kind of? I don't really know. I'm not sure there. Hayward could have edited out parts of the Hayward could have edited out parts of the show to make us think that Wanda's evil. Yeah, you're right. I think that was his end game there, to make that. I have to say the whole Hayward thing, because it made it seem in a previous episode that Hayward was tracking Vision, which, if Wanda made Vision, how is that possible? Because it wouldn't. Because we were under the assumption that the reason he could do that was because this was Vision's reanimated corpse, and they put some sort of tracking beaker in the corpse. So the fact that they were tracking him, I'm going to be honest, I didn't understand that. Maybe that's a plot hole, but also maybe not. I don't know. Could be leading into Shoma Gorath. Maybe I don't actually know who that is. I'm sorry again. I have said that my knowledge of certain Marvel comics is actually relatively limited. I am actually going to be looking more into Agatha Harkness's comics. I think that's going to be really fun. Part 1, I noticed when Agatha feeds the cicada to the rabbit, there was other spellbook behind the rabbit, one that appears to have the world's tree on the cover. Ooh, what does that mean? What does that mean? Let me know what that means. I'm not sure what that means. But again, there have been references or theories that the book that we saw in the previous episode could actually be one of the books in the library in Doctor Strange that was missing. So maybe it's that. Part 2, perhaps some reference to the 9 realms and magic on how to access them. Also, the shots after the rabbit is no longer on that table. What does that mean? Is no longer on that table. I don't know what you mean there. I think the only reason Hayward led Wanda to Vision's body was because he was hoping she would power him up for him. I think you're right. I think you're right with that one. I think that's because the whole time I was thinking, why is he showing her this? I think he was hoping that she would spark something. The end of the episode is quite interesting because I suppose, I revealed that, it's revealed in this episode that Wanda is the one that created Westview herself. So that's all her. She also created, she created Vision herself as well. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, no worries. I know a little about the comics, but I have done some research lately. Yeah. This is the thing. I think I've seen that. I've been talking actually to TiVo over at Lords of the Long Box, and he is very knowledgeable about comics, much more than I am, especially Marvel comics. I'm more of a DC Comics guy when it comes to comics, but he has been saying that there's been a lot of people buying up comics involving Agatha Harkness. So they're obviously doing their research. I am actually. I think we've got a week now. I'm going to start looking into it as well because it's really fascinating. And here, Rice, didn't they say vibranium emits a unique signature? That must mean Wanda can create vibranium too. That's what I was thinking. So it seems as though they're probably tracking. Yeah, you're right. The vibranium, which means that Wanda can create vibranium, that is insane because vibranium is like one of the most the rarest resources in this MCU and is really expensive. Literally. Hayward at one point says, I'm not going to just let you put $3 billion worth of vibranium into the ground because Wanda wants to bury Vision. That's like a big thing in this episode. She wants to bury the body. He won't let her do that because for him, Vision isn't a person, it's a weapon, and one that's made out of vibranium. So yeah, that's pretty it's pretty expensive. I'm gonna just pronounce your name as Beach. Part 1, when Jimmy introduced the cops to Monica in episode 4, he said that the weirdest thing about this was that Westview didn't exist. Part 2, does Westview actually exist, or was the end of this episode explaining how all this happened another misdirection? No, I think the cops said that Westview didn't exist because Wanda was making them say that. I think that was the thing. I think they were saying that because they're from Eastview, and I think she's kind of wiped Westview from everyone's memory because she doesn't want anyone going there. And I think that's, again, The big reveal of this episode is not only that Agatha Harkness is actually trying to kill Wanda, but it's also that Wanda is using chaos magic. And I do know for a fact that chaos magic is in the comics. This is the first time it's ever been referenced, and that she. So the end of this episode, minus the end credits, the post credits scene, is Agatha Harkness. Basically, she's got Wanda's 2 children with Peace. Oh, okay, I'll call you Peace, man. So Wanda's got. Sorry, Agatha Harkness has got Wanda's children tied, basically, with using magic around their throats, and she reveals that that Wanda's the Scarlet Witch, and she uses chaos magic. And chaos magic is really, really dangerous. We've kind of known that she uses chaos magic the whole time, but it's basically Agatha Harkness is saying, you can't control this. You are so dangerous that I need to get rid of you. And that's actually quite a big deal, because in the comics, I do know for a fact that Agatha is often a mentor to Wanda, so she actually teaches her how to use her magic. It seems as though they're going a different direction in the MCU, and they're actually going to have Agatha be like, "You're worse than me," and we started off the episodes with Agatha Harkness saying she can't control her magic, and that maybe she used to use chaos magic as well. I'm not so sure, but it really looks like Wanda's magic, she can't control it. It's very much tied to her emotions, which is both incredibly powerful, but also very dangerous, because it means she can't control what she's doing. So she can basically completely destroy the world with just saying something. She doesn't actually use it. She doesn't have to use incantations. One of the great things I liked in this episode was the fact that Agatha is using runes and stuff like that to stop Wanda from using her magic. Wanda knows nothing about this. She knows she's a witch, but she has no basic knowledge of what witches are and what they do and incantations. She does everything based on instinct. That's what she is. She has pure instinct, pure emotion, and she's raw. And the fact that she's so raw is really dangerous. And this is what Agatha and you know what? I love this. I love this. That what they've done here is it's so powerful, and it's like the MCU now is, I think, more interesting than it's ever been. But let's go through the comments. Do you think White Vision will fight Vision? Okay, so this is the big reveal at the end. They basically reveal that the weapon that Director Hayward has been building at S.W.O.R.D. is actually another Vision, and it's White Vision. So White Vision in the comics is, I did do my research on this. So he's basically the same as Vision, just without any of the humanity, which is why he's white. Which is really dangerous, because the thing that makes Vision Vision is his humanity, is his ability to understand human emotion and want to learn human emotion, and his ability to actually empathize with humans. And White Vision doesn't have this at all. White Vision is literally just a killing machine. So he's an evil version of Vision. So I'm pretty sure that we've already seen teasers of this in some of the promo videos. We see Vision talking to Wanda saying, "We have to save Westview." So I'm pretty sure that Wanda and Vision will work together to go and beat this White Vision. So I'm also wondering whether Agatha Harkness, because she's, I think Rai said, I think the next episode will introduce us to Wiccan's powers, since we've already seen Speed's. We've actually already seen Wiccan's powers as well. He can kind of mind read, so I'm pretty sure he also will probably have telekinesis as well. So I think you're right. I think we're going to see Wiccan's power. He's actually ridiculously powerful in the comics. Wiccan can read people's minds, can move objects. He does, Speed is just Speed, so he's basically Quicksilver 2.0. But he might have other powers as well. I'm not so sure about that. But I know that Wiccan's very, very powerful. So I think that might come into it as well. I don't think Agatha Harkness is going to kill the kids. At least I hope not, because that would be horrible to witness. But I do wonder whether Harkness, Wanda, and Vision will all end up working together to try and beat this White Vision, which is, I think, I did write a bit. I wrote a bit of a kind of a joke article about how Paul Bettany was actually teasing his own. He was teasing that the secret cameo was actually himself, because Paul Bettany is going to be playing this White Vision as well, so it's going to be Paul Bettany acting alongside Paul Bettany. But no, it's not. There will be another character to be introduced in this. So I've been wondering whether it's Al Pacino. Some people in the piece says that he's super confused on Pietro. So actually, Agatha revealed that she couldn't get a reanimated corpse, so she couldn't get Quicksilver's reanimated corpse because he's somewhere else. So she actually created. I think she just created him. I think that's what she did. One thing that we still don't know is what's going to happen with Monica Rambeau, because she wasn't in this episode at all. So the last time we saw Monica Rambeau was in the previous episode, and then Pietro turns up and says Snoopers will snoop or something like that. Snooper's going to snoop. Maybe there's more to Pietro. Maybe I think we're going to see him in the next episode. I think we're going to see Monica Rambeau as well in the next episode. Of course, she's got powers now as well. Who was that the Wanda saw in the Mind Stone? Herself from the future or a different reality? I think it was herself. I'm pretty sure it was herself in the future, and that's kind of what opened. She was kind of seeing her inner strength, her inner powers, I think, and that was represented as like the more comic book accurate version of Scarlet Witch. So this episode was brilliant. Honestly, I thought it was really good. Brilliant. And it really gets me excited to see the next episode. So there have been talks online that there are going to be 10 episodes, where it seems as though actually Disney Plus UK teased that themselves. They said episode 8 is streaming right now, 2 episodes left. So some people have said, well, couldn't that just mean that there are 2 episodes left with episode 8, or does that mean there is 2 episodes left after episode 8? I've been told that there are 10 episodes. Who knows? Some people are saying that the 10th episode is actually going to be a kind of making of episode, a behind the scenes episode, which it could very well be as well. What I do know is that if it's going to be 1 episode next week and 1 big episode next week, then it's going to be really long, and it's going to be basically like it's going to be basically feature length, and they might split that into 2. I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't know. That's the line. What is grief if not love persevering? That is such a beautiful line. That's what Vision said to Wanda, and that was a really, really fantastic scene, and something that I'm really glad they did, because it kind of explains their relationship a bit more. Because if you'd watched the MCU before this, it kind of did feel a bit random that they were together, and but they're really opening that up and really explaining why they're so good together, basically. But yeah, as I said before, this episode was wonderful, and it really opens up the doors to what can happen. I think there's another twist coming. I think there's more to this show than just Agatha Harkness being the kind of villain. I think there's something else coming. I do think Paul Bettany wasn't trolling us. I think there is a secret cameo coming. I would hope it is Al Pacino. I'd love it if it were Al Pacino kind of turning up as Mephisto in some form. I think there's more to come from Evan Peters. I think there's more to come from Monica Rambeau, and it wasn't worded that very well if it was only 9 episodes. That was the thing I was saying. That Disney Plus UK tweet was, if it was only 9 episodes, it was really terribly worded, like really, really badly worded. I'm pretty sure there are 10. I'm going to be honest. I'm pretty sure there are 10, but mainly because I just don't think they would. Either they release 2 next week and do it that way, which is possible because they started this off by releasing 2. But actually, I think it would make more sense for them just to make 1 episode come out next week and then the final episode the week after, because then it will be close to the launch of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so they can get interest, continuing kind of interest in this. And this is actually proven to be a massive, massive plus for Disney Plus and for this show in particular, is that the interest levels have been huge, and they've only just grown as these episodes have aired. So I think this is actually showing that it's much better to release things weekly rather than do the Netflix and what Amazon Prime was doing before, but it looks like they're starting to do less now, is just dropping it all at once. I know I would have liked it to dropped all at once. It would have been a good binge watch, but actually I've been really enjoying watching these episodes weekly, even though they're a bit slow to begin with, and they're a bit short as well. And that please stand by thing at the end is so annoying. It is so annoying because it always comes, it's like it comes at the wrong time because you just want to see more. But I've been liking these little post-credit scenes they've been doing. They've been revealing some pretty cool stuff, and I think those post-credit scenes will actually turn out to be very important. The Monica Rambeau one, I think, will be more important than people realize. And of course, White Vision is going to be huge, because I think White Vision is going to be the main kind of antagonist in the next episode, the one that really shakes things up. Maybe Agatha Harkness might just go away entirely and not really, once she realizes that she probably can't defeat Wanda on her own, she might go off and then bring someone back, which could be Mephisto. I really do hope they're bringing someone like Mephisto or Nightmare. I don't know if they will do, but yeah, it was. Thank you very much, Reese, for tagging me in that Disney Plus tweet. Yeah, it was the talent. It was the talent agency were the ones that said there was going to be 10 episodes because one of their actors were involved in the show, and they said they're going to be in episode 10 as well. So, do I think White Vision will have Ultron's voice? This is what I think might happen. I think they might, because I've been told that James Spader is coming back. That's what I've been told, and I've been told he's coming back. So it could be interesting if they use James Spader's voice, and I hope they do, because it would kind of be weird if it was Paul Bettany voicing both, and it would also make a lot more sense if it were James Spader voicing the White Vision, because this White Vision is basically just Ultron, because Vision was like Ultron 2.0 just with Jarvis, and Jarvis was kind of ended up becoming Vision's soul, and Ultron was Vision before Vision was Jarvis, if that makes any sense. So I think it would make sense for them to have James Spader. The only reason why I'm being like, well, maybe not, is because of the fact that this White Vision in the comics is literally depicted as like just completely and utterly void of any emotion. James Spader just sounds like a villain, has a great voice, has a really good voice. But I do hope they bring it back. I hope they bring him back. P says that I think Wanda will throw Agatha out of the hex with her powers, just like she did with Monica. I think you're probably right. Again, I think Agatha's very scared of Wanda, because Wanda is, again, as I said before, like operating on pure emotion, as opposed to how many spells she knows. So it's actually very different to, and that's why I like the idea that Doctor Strange could come into this. The fact that Elizabeth Olsen, she's going to be in Doctor Strange 2, we know that. I'm desperate to see that, because they operate in very different ways. So Doctor Strange is very kind of methodical and what's the word? He's more academic. So he's someone that's like learned all the spells and knows all the spells. But then again, there's stuff that Wanda could do that someone like Doctor Strange or even Agatha Harkness could just not do, because she's operating in a completely different way, and it's very emotional what the stuff she does, and that will make it just even more powerful, because it's literally instinct. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think Agatha won't stand a chance on her own, and she probably knows that, which is why she took the 2 kids hostage, and it's really. It really opens it up, because this is again why I think there's someone else coming, because I don't think Agatha Harkness can fight Wanda on her own, and I think she knows that. So I think we've got loads of people potentially coming into these final episodes. You've got White Vision, you've got Agatha Harkness, you've got someone, a secret cameo that people have been talking about that's coming. You've got Vision that's coming back, Monica Rambeau, Quicksilver's still around. So there's a lot of stuff happening. It's very exciting, and I can't wait to see this next episode. Again, do let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this episode. Let me know your theories as well in the comments below, what you think is going to happen. I love hearing your theories. Fan theories are great. They're really good fun. And Peace says, great stream, liked and sub. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. It's lovely to hear, and it's been lovely talking to you guys. And again, you can follow us everywhere on social media at Small Screen Co. That's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can follow me if you want at EJ Lauder on Twitter. Like and subscribe over on YouTube. You can follow the page as well, like the page. And yeah, what else? If you'd rather listen to this as a podcast, I do release it as a podcast. In a couple of hours, it'll be out. And that you can get wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, then a 5-star rating would be wonderful. Right, with that, I'll say goodbye. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. And keep on enjoying WandaVision. Keep on loving WandaVision. I'll see you in the next episode. Cheers and goodbye.